Okay, now let's go to the next page, the needs analysis worksheet. And this is pretty important because that's what we want to do. We want to analyze the needs of the business owner, but how do you do that? Well, this is going to give you a track to run on. For those of you that may come from an insurance background, which I did, I remember we used to do something called the capital needs analysis and ask questions of an individual to find out what their financial, monetary, capital needs would be in the event of a death of a partner, a spouse, or whatever, and then make recommendations based on that. And that's what we're talking about doing here, is making a recommendation based on the analysis of the needs of the business owner. So very simply, how do you find out what a business owner wants? You ask them. This is a process to help you with that. Now, the needs analysis worksheet is in your workbook. You've also got it in your flip chart. And on your flip chart, it's a specially coded page where you can use an erasable marker. You can use an actual presentation and erase it, and it makes a very, very nice presentation. You've also got an interactive flip chart that you can find out more about. You can go to pplbizplan.com and get information on that. But let's talk about the flip chart right now. Talk about the needs analysis worksheet, part of that flip chart. So we want to find out what the needs are of the business owner. So very simply, it might just be something like this. Mr. and Ms. Business Owner, what I'd like to do is ask you some questions that have to do with your individual situation and not someone else, so I can show you something that's going to fit best for you. Can I ask you a couple of questions? Well, yes, you can. Well, going down through this sheet right here, if you don't mind telling me, which of these have you used an attorney or consultant for in the past? And then we'll go down through it. It's legal correspondence, consultation, internet guidance, debt collection, sales and marketing information, tax information, contract review, trial defense services, small claims, other. So what they're going to do is you're going to help them go down through there, and then they'll start checking off. And they say, well, I've used it for legal consultation, so you'll check that off. And I've had them write some letters for me, and you'll check that off. Debt collection, I've used them for that, and you'll check that off. And maybe let's say that was it. Okay? So you check that off under the have used section. And then what I normally write there is say, well, you know, the average attorney's fee in this area, and I'll give that fee whatever it is in my area. I happen to be in Georgia. The average attorney's fee here is somewhere upwards of $250. You can use whatever figure you want in your area. So I might say that, well, Mr. or Ms. Business Owner, the average attorney's fee in this area is about $250 an hour. Did you pay more or less than that? And they say, well, I paid a little less than that. I paid about $200. So I'm going to write $200 down for market cost, okay? And for each of these things, $200 per hour. And now what I'm going to do is go to the next section where it says have needed. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Business Owner. I don't know if you're anything like me or a lot of the people and business owners that I deal with, but at $200 plus an hour, are there ever things that you'd like to know or some help you'd like to have, but you don't want to pay $200 an hour for it? And they'll say, well, sure there is. Well, let me ask you this. If you could get the additional services of an attorney or consultant and not have to pay additional money, would that interest you? They say, well, yes, it would. Well, if you didn't have to pay anything additional, which of these would you have used more, or would you have used that you haven't used? And then you're going to find then as you go down through, they're going to start checking off a whole lot of things here. They're going to say, well, I would have used it for more correspondence. I would have used it for more consultation. Would have used it for more debt collection and tax information. And they'll check off a lot of things. And then what I'm going to say to them, I said, if you had to pick one area or two areas here that were most important to you, what would that be? And for a lot of times what comes up is tax, or the debt collection area comes up a lot. So let's say they said debt collection, then I'd circle that. And when they did that, then when I would ask some further questions about that. Well, in the debt collection area then, since you said that's most important, how many debt collection problems do you follow up on a month? Either bad checks or invoices that haven't been paid. And let's say they say, well, 8, 10, 12, something like that. Well, and how do you currently handle that? Well, I normally follow up on it myself a little bit. If that doesn't work, I turn it over to my partner. They take their time to do it. If that doesn't work, then we turn it over to an attorney. And I say, well, how much do they charge you? Well, we've got a good deal with an attorney. They'll charge me about $50 to $75 a letter. And you said you have 8 to 10 or 12 of these a month, right? So if you've got 10 of these a month at $50 a letter, that's $500 a month, right? Let me ask you a question. How important is it for you to collect on those debts? Well, it's pretty important. If I could show you a way that other business owners throughout the country, the United States and Canada, are collecting on those debts more efficiently, more affordably, more effectively, would that interest you at all? Well, yes, it would. Would you like me to show you? Well, yes, I would. Okay, well, thanks, Jeff. What I'm going to show you is not for $200 an hour. What I'm going to show you basically in your situation for your business is about $75 a month if you put us on your payroll for about $2.50 a day. Okay? All right, let me show you exactly how this would work for you. And now I'm into a presentation. But what I'm going to do now is when I go through the flip chart or when I go through the brochure, I'm going to be then showing them the benefits of the plan and emphasizing the needs that they have just told me that they had, how they've used attorneys in the past, and so on, how they've used consultants in the past. And let me mention something here, the cost of the program. A lot of times it comes up that, well, I've got an attorney, and we'll talk about that in a minute, but it's appropriate to talk about it here also. You know, I've got an attorney. I like it when somebody is spending money on an attorney already, because then all I have to do is move a little bit of money, because nobody is spending 50 or 75 bucks a month on attorneys. They're spending hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars if they have an arrangement with an attorney. So if somebody is using an attorney and they're spending $500 a month, then very simply all it would be is, why don't you continue using the attorney you're using, just move $75 of that over to us, or if they're charging you $50 a debt collection letter, move a letter and a half over to us basically. You can keep the other attorney you've got, get our full service, and you're not paying another penny more than you were paying before. I remember I actually had a chiropractor one time tell me when I told him that, he said, well, why wouldn't everybody do that? So it's much easier to move some money over that's already being allocated than it is to find some money where somebody hasn't been used to spending it. So I like it when they're spending money on attorneys or consultants. And we can save them money and we can save them time.